Hey there, everybody. Tony Garcia, Michigan basketball writer for the Detroit Free Press, joined by Carlos Menares, our sports columnist in the band storage area at KeyBank Center, where Michigan just hammered St. Louis 95-72 to go back to the Sweet 16 for the second time in as many years under Dusty May. Yaxel was the All-American that they needed him to be, 25 points, just too much size, speed, physicality, all the things we have come accustomed to Michigan doing, certainly against now a mid-major team that has not seen anything like that this year.
Yeah, you could just see it was like what, an 8-point game at the half or so,
Yep.
And then Michigan just took over in the second half. It was just too much. You could just see St. Louis kind of wearing down, the better defense. Yaxel had this like monster dunk in the second half, and I don't say it deflated St. Louis, but you could just see play after play, Michigan was just better. Their size, their speed, their defensive. And St. Louis played a good game. They did what they could. They're a fairly deep team, have a lot of players, but nobody on most of their. I think Dusty said they have 2 elite shooters, and then everybody else is kind of like, well, good, but they're not at Michigan's consistent level with their starting 5.
Yeah, well, Josh Schertz, the coach of St. Louis, he's got the X's and O's part. Dusty May has that too. He also has the Jimmies and Joes, right? And that's what so often wins these games. And then, St. Louis was going to need to play an A-plus game, and then they're the number 2 shooting team in the nation. Michigan held them to 31% from long range. Michigan shot nearly 50% until like a late heave from Roddy Gale just took them one under 11 of 23. They won in the paint. They won on the boards. They won all the ways they have, and it feels like. And some of the players were saying it. They're saying like there's still another level we can get to, like cannot be satisfied sort of thing. To me, it feels like Michigan got its mojo back here in Buffalo after sort of 5 tight games in a row, 2 to end the regular season and 3 in the Big Ten tournament, and obviously losing the Big Ten tournament championship to Purdue.
Yeah, absolutely. And they faced a really good shooting Howard team, and then St. Louis is a pretty good team. And they had, in some ways, some kind of a tactical advantage that a lot of teams don't have, because Schertz and Dusty are close friends. They share a lot of concepts. They share notes and data and everything. So if there's one opponent that would know Michigan really, really well and could use that to advantage, it would be St. Louis. And it worked for about a half, and then Michigan just pulled away. You can see them playing with more confidence, more speed, more swagger, more will. I think Ade Mara going against Robbie Avila, you could really see, and I talked to him in the locker room, he said, yeah, I was charged up to go against him because he's such a good player. I was, excited. You could see Elliott could do also, like there's just a certain aggressiveness, I think, that we haven't seen from Michigan in a little while, and now it's coming out.
And Cadeau was big early, right? So he hit, I think, 3 threes in the first half. He had a really nice take. He and, let me see that roster. What was his name? He and Amari McCautry, they were getting into it.
Yes.
There was a lot of chirping going on between the two of them, and that sort of, you don't want to give Elliott Cadeau even more ammo. And he hit some big time shots. Like St. Louis had just made a 15-3 run in the first half. They were down, Michigan was down 27-23, and you're thinking like this might be a game. Cadeau hit a really tough sort of floater from the spinning drive floater off the high glass from the left wing. Feels like that settled things down. Then he throws a skip pass to Trey McKinney in the corner. And all Trey McKinney does, he's going to be an afterthought in this game. But, man, he just makes big shots. That's just all the freshman does. He hit a corner 3, 28-27. They never trailed again. So Michigan has won the Buffalo Invitational. They will go back to Chicago, where they just missed out on cutting down some nets. They want some revenge on those nets. And I was talking to Amari Burnett after the game. He knows that they will be playing one of his former teams because Texas Tech and Alabama will play for each other. His 2 former programs. He's from Chicago, so there will be a story coming up later this week in the Free Press on that. Just sort of a full circle moment. He and Will Cheddar. He was thinking a lot of the last year that that was going to be his 5th year. He was going to be done. But he said he had so much fun and he knew he had another year of eligibility. He couldn't not come back, and so. Again, there are so many layers to this game. Mraz was fantastic, and on we could go, but we need to end the video shortly. Do you have a final thought before we go right?
My final thought is, St. Louis's coach, Josh Schertz, said after they beat Georgia, he was asked about Michigan, and he said, I think they're the best team in the country. I don't know if that's just giving his buddy, Dusty May some props, but he actually backed that up and explained why. And today they looked like the best team in the country. I mean, they really put that distance between themselves and, didn't let St. Louis close the gap. They just looked so dominant in the second half. It's hard to see who is going to stop Michigan until they get to the Final Four.
Yeah, frequently they've looked like the best team in the country this year, and that's why with their 33rd victory, they have tied the most wins in a single season in program history. Last note, they have 3 losses, and between each one of those losses, they've won at least 6 games in a row. It started at 14, then it was 11, then it was 6. They only need 6 wins in a row this time to win the national championship, and two down.
You sports writers and your little stats, you'll find.
That's what you find it on Freep.com.
You know the old saying about stats? If you torture them long enough, they'll tell you what you want to know. So find a stat and make it work for you.
It's true. It's true, and it's my narrative, and I'm sticking to it. For Carlos, I'm Tony. Thanks for watching.